chose was death. Why do people fear and obsess over something that's inevitable? Why do people kill when death is already a part of life? It's very sad and it's unfortunate, and oftentimes it's very disturbing. But I think it's important to be aware of the tragedy and mortality of us all. I also find it fascinating to try to understand the motives and minds of serial murderers. I want to learn more about why people, including myself, are so intrigued with the gruesome topic. I wanted to look at the topic of death from a realistic standpoint. I didn't want to delve into spiritual reasonings or the afterlife or anything like this. I wanted to investigate the imperfection of humans. People are inherently good. I believe so many of us are fascinated with death because we will all at some point encounter it. Alternately, many of us are concerned with murder, not necessarily because of fear, but out of curiosity. The majority of us are not in the business of killing. We cannot imagine inflicting pain on another human. So the average person views death as the end, whereas many murderers see death as an escape for life. I read Peter Vronsky's Serial Killers, which looked into the minds and motives of murderers, and I found out that, like Allie was saying, there's usually a cause and a reason behind it. It's not good, I'm not endorsing it, but people do murder, and it's important to understand why they are obsessed with death in the first place. Everyone brings forth a unique perspective, and some may see more beauty in it than others who see only the desperate end of life. It's important to consider all viewpoints and respect each one. Death is subjective. Peter Vronsky was very helpful and eye-opening with this topic because serial killers are not normal, but they are still people. While it's difficult not to judge, I investigated why. Why do they kill? They have nothing to gain, only a life sentence in an asylum or a date with the executioner. I think that killing is so animalistic and brutal that as a sophisticated society, we have trouble diagnosing our own thoughts and feelings on it. What I discovered was that these murderers are also victims. They were often mistreated and abused as children. The majority have suffered a head injury. All have witnessed violence as children, too. I am not condoning their actions, but I just wanted to understand them. You could spend a lifetime investigating sociological aspects of serial killers and how to fix the criminal justice system, but I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to look into the very human aspect of emotion and why. They're imperfect, as we all are. And I came to the realization that these killers are not fully alive. In Pale Fire by Vladimir Nabokov, he expressed nearly catatonic characters living their lives with death in mind. It's consuming and unhealthy. They are so intensely fixated on death that they know of nothing else, not even life. I cannot empathize, I can only sympathize. I learned that there is no answer and that every situation is different. But I discovered a beautiful thing about death during my exploration. Death, although horrific and gruesome sometimes, usually brings people together, and it brings people together to celebrate life, like the celebration of Cinco de Mayo, the Day of the Dead. They don't focus on the bad, they focus on the good. They focus on the life to live, not the end of the life. And they come together in happiness, so death doesn't consume them, but they're just aware of it and they accept it, and they're not worried about the murderers out there because there are serial killers, but there are more good people than bad people. And life surprises us just as often as death does. So the most important thing I took away from this is to live your life, no matter the fact that there's bad in the world, just focus on the good.